Silicon Valley, move fast and break things. Move fast and break things. That's what he does. And it may work, but boy, there's a lot on the other side that says it may not.
We're eventually going to see a campaign like Israel used with Hezbollah. Slice at the top first, slice, slice, slice. But there does seem to be mostly coherent operations here from something that would look like a centralized command and control. I don't think that's going to last much longer, though.
The U.S. as a nation, we tend to get bored with combat. So we will become bored, the nation will become bored with this while Iran continues to draw it out.
President Trump said a couple of days ago, and rather absurdly, that there's an unlimited supply of missiles and interceptors and munitions, and that's simply not the case.
Now that they've got air superiority, they're moving to the second phase. They no longer, as General Kane said, have to go stand off. Now they're going to stand in. They don't have to use standoff capabilities. They don't have to use stealth. They now can bring in the bulk of the aircraft and the bulk of the weapons and the bulk of the ammunition.
Which may be slower aircraft or if they have air supremacy, or if they're not worried about missiles being fired up, they can loiter over airspace and really pick their targets.
And they can bring in the B-52, which can drop an awful lot of JDAMs.
You know, obviously the Supreme Leader was killed. How decentralized right now is decision making? Do you have any sense, or does the U.S. have a sense?
I think at the highest level, it's all coming back together. Ahmed Wahidi, who started the IRGC, is now back running the IRGC Quds Force. He also was the former defense minister. So I would suspect that we're eventually going to see a campaign like Israel used with Hezbollah. Slice at the top first, slice, slice, slice. But there does seem to be mostly coherent operations here from something that would look like a centralized command and control. I don't think that's going to last much longer, though.
The strategy's all over the place. Every time we listen to the president, there's something new. And I think that's because there isn't a national security strategy that's being done. There's no national security advisor. There's no process that would make sure that everybody's on the same sheet of music. And because that's not there, it means that the military is sort of figuring that out as it goes. And I think if we listen to General Dan Kane, it was clear what he said, which is prevent Iran from having the ability to project power outside of its borders. And everything else and everybody else has talked about has changed over around the time. But
so, like I told y'all before, I mean, you know, I'm just gonna be honest with you. From the information that I've accumulated, I don't even know if I should call Trump diabolical or goddamn genius. So I made a live stream earlier, man. I'm just putting some things together, and shit's crazy, man. Yo, I'm thinking that he went up and evidence shows he went in Venezuela so he can get access to oil. Then he hit Iran. Now the Strait of Hormuz is backed up. You know, 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. 4% of that oil is allocated to the Americas, right? 80% of it is allocated towards Asia. So now here's the point of contention, right? This is what I'm asking myself. Did Trump do this shit on purpose, or did it just fall into place? Because now what's going to tend to happen is that the more they hold up the Strait of Hormuz, the more that the oil is going to be backed up. So there's going to be a spike in oil. But the crazy part about it is that it's going to affect us, but it's not going to affect us that much. Like, only 4% of that oil is allocated to the Americas, right? 80% of it is allocated to Asia. So China's going to take a bigger hit if they don't get the Strait of Hormuz up and running again, right? So I'm sitting here saying to myself, what if Trump was sitting back and he just says, you know what? Let me tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to run up in Venezuela real quick. We're going to get a hold on this oil. And then after we get a hold on this oil, we're going to go bomb Iran, right? We're going to get them to hit our oil tanks. We're going to get them to get the whole Strait of Hormuz congested. And then now China's going to suffer. So what I'm asking is that, well, you know, did Trump trick Iran into crippling China?
That
Oh shit.
That's what hasn't changed, is the ability to do that. And then he says that ready for follow-on actions as appropriate. What does that mean? We don't know what that means. So what we have is, in the period leading up now, in the next 4 weeks or 5 weeks, is a clash of wills. And that's what's always the case in war. It's the will of the American people and the president against the will of the Iranians. And they're going to go after whatever they can to force us to stop. And that means going after the Gulf Coast countries, going after economic assets that will force the Americans to say, no, we don't want to do this anymore. On the other hand, the Americans are going to do as much as damage as they can and to force the Iranians to give up. But I don't think we're going to be talking about regime change. It just, there's a million people in arms in Iran. And unless there's something we don't know about, there's some opposition force, there's some way to get guns to them, I just don't see how regime change is going to happen. So I go back to what General Dan Kane said, which is to ensure that Iran cannot harm its neighbors. And that seems to be what they're trying to do. Whether that can work, the one thing we know about war is it's the most complex, dangerous, and unpredictable activity undertaken by humans. And we have no idea what has happened once, as Trump has done, rolled the iron dice and gone to war.
Roll that iron dice.
Well, there is a lot of confusion too about just what those strikes have accomplished, and I understand partially that's the fog of war. Partially, it may just be that they aren't sure, and they're still trying to figure it out, right? But we just don't know. But you're looking at a situation, though, General, which is on its face untenable. When you mention the economic impacts, right? There's a certain amount of pain that can be taken before Western countries are not going to take it anymore. When we talk about gas and oil, okay, we're not there yet, but when you're going to get there. You've got the world's busiest airport trying to open for a half an hour here and a half an hour there. That's also untenable. All right, you have a lot of situations that are untenable, and the question is just how much time is left on the clock.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Who has the will to continue this longer? And we don't know that. The Iranians are also going through a terrible.
That's what it all comes down to, right? You know, we spoke about this earlier as well. Who got the will? Who can hold out the longest? So, Iran, man, they got those cheap drones. Cheap drones, right? You know what they say, those drones were about what? $20,000 to $30,000 a piece. At the max, $50,000. Takes about 2 missiles to shoot them drones out the sky. So for every drone they kill, it's gonna take them about $2-3 million. You're spending $2-3 million just to take out a drone that only takes $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 to build. So economically, America wouldn't survive that long financially doing that, right? So that's not going to work. But then you also got, like I said, to factor in that take Iran out the situation. The Strait of Hormuz is crippling China at the same time. Russia can't really do nothing. Russia's tied up. Or their resources are probably depleted after all that warring they've been doing with the Ukraine. So it's very interesting. Who knows what's going to happen? How this is going to play out?
Terrible time, losing their missiles, going after the leadership. But I don't know that they can stop. I don't know if there's anybody there to stop. So it will continue to go until there's some way that somebody's will breaks in this. And I think that's the thing about war. It is so unpredictable. And this is we're only in a couple of days. Can you imagine after we go 4 weeks?
Yeah, you know what I mean? The only hope that they're going to really have is not too much Russia can do. Like I said, Russia's resources have already been tied up in the war with Ukraine, right? Then you have only other person that's, that can really have an impact is China. But China's about to be neck deep in some shit because they might not have no oil coming in this month. I'm sorry, next month. And they might not have no oil coming in next month. So, because like I said, I remind you, on the Strait of Hormuz, 80% of that oil goes to Asia. Only 4% goes to the Americas. So we ain't really taking a hit like China's going to take a hit. So Russia is on the sidelines. They recuperating from the war from Ukraine. Israel and America going hard. Venezuela's done. Only person left to help China is going to be, only person that could probably do any serious stuff for Iran will be China. And we don't know if, I think Trump can cripple China because, like I said, their oil supply is hit. The Strait of Hormuz is backed up. Nobody can get through right now. So that's real interesting. We got to see how that works out.
What's the price of oil going to be? What's the Strait of Hormuz going to be? Can an American ship be hit? That's what happens when there isn't an overarching strategy that goes in. General Powell had this doctrine that said we're never going to go to war unless all these things are set to go. That's the Powell doctrine. And then there's the Pottery Barn, which is if you break it, you own it. But I think the Trump doctrine is more like Silicon Valley: move fast and break things. Move fast and break things. That's what he does. And it may work, but
I don't think that's the case, bro. That might not be the case. We all know about the shock and awe. We know about that strategy. We get that. But that might not be the case in this situation. I honestly believe, that the whole time Trump made it look like he was doing one thing, he was doing another. I think all of this was to go. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm not explaining it right. What if all of this was to back up China's oil supply? Because that's what's really happening right now. The longer the Strait of Hormuz gets back, the longer it stays discombobulated, the longer China's going to take a hit, a big hit, mind you, 80%. So, what are we going to do with that?
boy, there's a lot on the other side that says it may not.
New satellite images from several key military bases in the Arabian Peninsula suggest that Iran may be trying to weaken regional air defenses by destroying U.S.-made radars used to detect incoming missiles and drones. Satellite images show damage to radar bases in Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. Let's bring in retired Army four-star officer and former four-star general and former commander of U.S. Central Command, General Joseph Votel. General, thanks so much for joining us. As you know, these bases have THAAD batteries, a U.S.-made missile interceptor system used to destroy incoming ballistic missiles. If Iran is deliberately targeting U.S.-made radars that detect these incoming missiles, what does that suggest to you about their strategy right now?
Thanks, Jake. It's good to be with you. Well, I think what we're seeing here is they want to create an effect on us, and they've been trying to broaden the conflict geographically, and they're trying to extend it in time. So they want to have some effects against us. They appreciate how the media covers U.S. military operations, and they know that we're very, very sensitive to casualties and other things. So if they are able to inflict damage or, in worst cases, casualties on us, they know that could potentially work against us.
Speaking of casualties and damage, sources with U.S. intelligence tell us that CNN that Russia is providing Iran with intelligence about the locations and movements of American troops, ships, aircraft. I want you to listen to what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said about this story on Fox.
Whether or not this happened, frankly, it does not really matter, because President Trump and the United States military are absolutely decimating the rogue Iranian terrorist regime.
Obviously, the U.S. military has been remarkably successful in the last week, but do you think it does not matter?
Well, I think any commander would be concerned about anybody who was providing information on their troops or their locations or key pieces of equipment. So, yeah, I think this is something we should be paying attention to. And I would hope that in the back channels here, we are communicating to Russia our displeasure with these reports and trying to track them down. So, yeah, we want to do everything we can to protect our forces and our soldiers against threats that may come from anywhere, to include the sharing of intelligence with our adversaries.
When we look at this map, of where the U.S. and Israel have struck. I'm wondering what your assessment of this mission is so far and where you think it goes from here.
Well, from both a tactical and operational standpoint, Anderson, the individual battles, if you will, of aircraft strikes and Navy Tomahawk missile strikes, they're doing very good in terms of the tactical fight and putting those battles together for an operational plan. But as Congressman Smith just said, if you don't have a strategy, those two things don't matter. Where we stand right now, I think, is the very beginning of something that the president's administration did not anticipate, that Iran gets a vote and they get to fight back. They are going to do their very best, just like Hamas and Hezbollah did, of extending the timeline. And we, the U.S. as a nation, we tend to get bored with combat. So we will become bored, the nation will become bored with this while Iran continues to draw it out. I also think we're going to see Iran putting leadership in the security apparatus. They're going to continue to replace dead leaders. They've got a plan for that. They learned the last time they were attacked by Israel and the United States what to do. And doing that is going to keep the regime in place, in check. They were trying to vote on new leaders today when those new leaders were struck. But truthfully, they have a transformation plan. They know what they have to do to maintain the offensive and defensive operations. And then finally, I think they're going to continue to raise the cost for the U.S. and Israel by continuing these fights with other Gulf Cooperation Council members. We're seeing an extensive number of Iranians.
Yeah, so you're talking about the GCC, man. I covered that earlier too. That's the Gulf Cooperation Council, right? So again, those are the 5-member bodies around the Saudi Arabia, right? Which is right adjacent to Iran. Now again, like I said, they play a pivotal role as well because they sell all their oil. You must have American dollars to do so. So that's very important. So they got to get rid of the GCC if they can do that. But then again, that was the whole deal that America made with them. They was like, listen, man, we'll protect you. We'll keep you safe as long as you sell your oil only in dollars. So that's how the dollar became what it is today. So they got America that they fighting. Okay, so let's break it down. So Iran got to deal with the GCC, right? America, Israel. Hold on, let me get this straight. So Iran got to deal with the GCC. America, Israel. They can't count on Venezuela to come in. Venezuela's done. Russia's tied up, resources already almost depleted, war with Ukraine. So, only person they got now is China. Not the only one, but that's, China's like, that can do some major damage. And like I told you before, that's going to be kind of crazy because all of this is kind of crippling China with their oil distributions. So, and we ain't talk about Russia, Germany, and shit. We ain't talk about France and Germany and the rest of NATO and all that. We ain't talk about that.
Strikes against other countries in the best way possible, and they're mixing the cruise missiles that they have, the long-range missiles, with those Shahed drones, and baffling some of the air defense systems that are in defensive positions in those countries. So the fight is going well from an Air Force campaign perspective. But we're talking about long-term strategy and understanding what the enemy is going to do.
I mean, you know what happened in Iraq better than anybody. De-Baathification, which was the policy of the U.S., led to, essentially funneled all these people into an insurgency. They had access to weapons, they had military training, and suddenly they were without power and they were fighting back. The CIA now, there's this sources telling CNN that the CIA is working to arm Kurdish forces with the aim of sparking a popular uprising in Iran. We've seen incredibly brave protesters go out into the streets. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands have been killed. You still have an awful lot of people from the Revolutionary Guard Corps on down who are armed and have weapons and access and the levers of control still.
Yeah, there's estimates when you're talking about the Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Basij, the two major groups, along with a lot of other minor groups inside of Iran. They will continue to fight, and the estimates of the size of those are anywhere from 400,000 to about 700,000 fighters. And they all have pretty good weapon systems. They're well armed as infantry forces. I heard your question to Congressman Smith about the Kurds. And when I first heard that, the CIA manning the Kurds, I think you and I talked one time a long time ago about my experiences with the Kurds. You have about 8 or 9 different Kurdish parties that are in Iran, Iraq, and Syria. You mentioned that. They all don't get along with each other. And I'm not sure they're going to come together in a common bond like they did against ISIS to try and take over what's left of the Iranian government. It's just a mission that's too big. And if you haven't planned that beforehand, and if the U.S. government is just beginning to think of, hey, maybe we should arm the Kurds, it's a little bit too late for that. That takes a whole lot of coordination, a whole lot of on-the-ground discussion and collaboration with those groups to get them into a fight. And I'm not sure, unlike what happened in Iraq, that they would be willing to fight against the Iranian government.
What we're seeing play out here is essentially a war of attrition. It's the ability of the Iranians to launch missiles and drones versus the supply of U.S. and Israeli interceptors that can knock them out. Now, President Trump said a couple of days ago, and rather absurdly, that there's an unlimited supply of missiles and interceptors and munitions, and that's simply not the case. But there are some signs that the Iranians had a lot of capabilities, but it's definitely being degraded. I mean, on the first day, they launched 350 missiles. On the second day, 175. On the third, it looks like about 125, and only 50 yesterday. So there's definite signs that they're being degraded. The other thing that they're working on is the launchers, the missile launchers. They started the war with perhaps 450. The IDF is claiming perhaps at least half of them have been knocked out. But they still have a lot of drones, a lot of missiles. The drones can be very, very dangerous, and we've seen play out in Ukraine. Yeah. Of course, the Iranians are providing a lot of drones to the Russians, so it's probably going to evolve into a war of attrition. The ability of the Iranians to continue to mount attacks using their missiles, what's left of them, and their drones, and the United States racing against time to try to knock out their capabilities to deliver those munitions.
In this case, I actually see the military missions being accomplished fairly steadily here. The trajectory is very good. First and foremost, of course, they went after the air and ballistic missile defenses, took those down, whatever had been reconstituted after the Israelis took them apart in the early days of the 12-day air campaign. And that's crucial, because we don't want to be restricted to just the F-35 stealth fighter bombers and the B-2 stealth bombers. We want to bring in the big ones, the B-52s, the B-1 bombers, and they are flying now almost at will. I would argue that we have actually achieved air supremacy, not just air superiority, but again, I think people are cautious in making that declaration. Second, take down those elements that can retaliate. Of course, along with this, obviously, take the shot, if you have the exquisite intelligence that we had on the Supreme Leader, so many of the other leaders, obviously that was a priority at the outset, and I suspect it determined part of the timing, part of the decision to go at that moment on that day, along with the frustration with the nuclear talks and a recognition that the missile stocks have been reconstituted. Israel is going to go do that regardless. So now we're talking about what they can use to retaliate. We've seen that. All the Gulf states, unwisely, Iran has actually widened this war from just retaliating against U.S. assets and Israeli facilities.
We are going to start with one of the biggest stories we have been following for over a week now, and that is the escalating situation over in the Middle East. Bringing us out to this, it's a live image that we have in Tel Aviv over in Israel. As I read some of the latest reporting courtesy
getting rid of the nuclear threat from Iran, which was a big moment in history, in my opinion, and the great success we've had in Venezuela and all other places. Every place we've gone, we've had tremendous success. But while we're doing all of these things, we're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets, and we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it. If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, and a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less, accurately right on the noggin. So now we have low-cost interceptors effectively combating Iranian drones, and our B-2 bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound bombs to destroy missile launchers all over Iran and buried deep under Iranian soil in many cases. The soil was no match. And we're also annihilating the manufacturing base that the regime uses to build drones and missiles at a rate that nobody thought was possible. We're knocking them out. We know where they all are. We're knocking them out very quickly.
Knocking them out.
We're ahead of our initial timeline by a lot. I would say that we probably would not have thought after a month we'd be here. In addition to the fact that we've taken out the leadership twice and maybe 3 times. And we, as you know, we want to be involved. We don't want another president that maybe wouldn't be willing to do what I'm willing to do for the good of the world, for the good of our nation, to be stuck with this.
Yeah, man, Trump trying to set the standard, man. He's trying to set the standard, but I'm going to be honest with you, man. He's like the most visible president we've had in a long time. I mean, good or bad, the most visible president. You ain't gonna never say he's hiding out somewhere, he's ducking interviews. You ain't gonna never say he's neglecting issues, man. This fool be on it all day, every day, man. All day, every day. Shit don't stop.
Situation in 5 years or 10 years from now. So we think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change. They've been doing this for 47 years, killing people for 47 years, whether it's the barracks or even the SS Cole, where they were involved very strongly. They always denied it. But where they were very strongly involved, and all of the people that died through the roadside bombs died and are right now walking around with no legs, no arms, a face that's been so badly damaged. The Iranian regime has been attacking Americans and spreading terror for 47 years, and despite these countless opportunities to renounce their nuclear ambitions, which they had just a short while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who...
See, I want to be honest with everybody, right? Like, You know, you got a group of people screaming death to America, right? You got to do something about that. You can't just, let me tell you something, man. You got a group of people walking outside your home. Your address is, I don't know, 5802. That you got your enemies outside on your street. Death to 5802. Yeah, you have to deal with that. You can't just, oh, I hope it go away. So you have this country screaming, you know, death to America. Now, I do get it, man. I get it. You know, you got a lot of anti-Americans here. But understand something. You live here, man. You live here. I don't understand how you can go against home. I don't care what problems you have in your home. You still live here. If this shit go down, we all go down together. All right? You know, I'm pretty sure you got issues in your home. You go back and forth with your siblings. Are you okay with your house being bombed? Because if Iran decides or any country decides to bomb the United States, we all in this together. So I don't understand this rhetoric when we're just sitting here like, you know what? You know, people talk like they want to see America get bombed. Oh, America's going to learn. Or Iran, they're going to take this. Listen, if you're a citizen of the United States of America, this your home. All right? So you need to start rooting for home. All right, all the differences we got, we settle that shit later. All right, we got outsiders. Yeah, we got to deal with home because we all live here, right?
Is standing right over
Domino's
here.
Pizza, boy.
They said, they actually said we want to keep building. Essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated. I was very lucky that we had the courage to do that we had the talented pilots and the great equipment. The B-2 bombers are unbelievable. We ordered 25 more, by the way. The newer, better version. It's... We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. You see that?
We do got the greatest military in the world. I ain't gonna hold you back. We do. Proud to be an American. I love my country, yo. I ain't even gonna hold you. I love my country. I'm not saying that to be facetious or anything. I'm being dead ass serious, man. You know, just the freedoms we have here, man. Just I think a lot of people overlook. I swear, man, like things that we can do here that you might not necessarily be able to do in other countries. It's just a blessing to be here, man. I wish most people would see it that way. But unfortunately, we have entitled people who think they deserve things. Nobody in life deserves anything. Everything that we have is a blessing, and we should bask in that.
No matter where we go, you still need the people, though, to operate it and to use it. And those are the people that we cherish. Even after we obliterated their key nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer, they never negotiated in good faith. They still continued to say, we want to build nuclear. We want enrichment at levels that were unacceptable. And they even turned down an offer for unlimited free nuclear fuel forever for civilian purposes. We had people offering them free nuclear fuel. They weren't interested in that because they wanted to build a nuclear weapon. So instead, the regime was trying to reconstitute its weapons program at a different site. They couldn't go back to where they were, the 3 sites that we obliterated, but they were starting work at another site, a different site, different kind of a site, and that was protected by granite. They wanted it protected. Granite's pretty good, but they wanted it protected by a lot deeper. They wanted to go a lot deeper, and they started the process while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time that threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So as you probably saw, they had a tremendous number of missiles, most of which are now being used or destroyed. and very unsuccessfully used, because we have been able, for the most part, to shoot them all down. What incredible technology. The Patriots have been unbelievable, and other things. And the laser technology that we have now is incredible. It's coming out pretty soon.
Hey.
Where literally lasers will do the work of, at a lot less cost, do the work of.
Now, what they mean by a lot less cost, remember what I told you. You know, these damn drones that Iran are using, man, they only about $50,000 at the most. You know how much drones, that's a drop in a bucket right there. You know how much the missiles cost that we use to shoot them down? One missile can be over $1 million. So, again, takes you over $3 million to shoot down a $50,000 drone. Yeah, that's not gonna work out for us in the long run, right? So, they're coming out with the lasers. Every country got shit that they don't tell you about, man. They got stuff, man. They got stuff in the pocket that don't nobody know about. You know, you probably won't hear about it till damn near 50 years after they already done had it built. Just like the internet. The internet been here way before we even knew about it. Which is wise. You know, you want to make sure that they know what they doing. They know what they doing. You know, we let them do what they do. That's why we had the internet, the luxuries that we have today. You know, bombs flying over our sky. Thank God to our military and our policemen and everybody that does service. You know, yeah, men and women. Love you.
What the Patriots are doing or what other things are doing. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And if you notice, they did something which was very foolish, very stupid, I would say. They attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved, and they got attacked. And it had.
And then came back and apologized and say, hey, you know, we apologize for the attack, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, when you outgunned and you frustrated, you make erroneous decisions like this. You know what happens? Impulsive decisions. Unless maybe it wasn't a trick. Maybe it was an impulsive decision. Maybe those attacks were meant to happen. Could be a strategy that they have. You gotta see.
The reverse effect, the neighbors.
Tell you something. Time is the only thing that's for certain in life. Time tells everything.
Came onto our side and started attacking them, and actually quite successfully. If you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at UAE, Qatar, and others, but they were strong and they were smart, but they got attacked. Nobody, when I first heard it, I said, no, somebody made a mistake. There was no mistake. UAE had.
Nah, yeah, like I told you, that's the GCC right there, man. You know, you attack, if you attack the GCC, you can harm America by attacking them, you know? Especially if you do some deep diving into it, but we'll get on that to another. I already beat that horse to death. I had a live earlier when I broke that down. You know, I'm just reiterating it over and over again because sometimes you got to hear these things over and over again to understand it. You know, just having information doesn't mean you understand it. You know, and like I said, repetition is the father of skill. Gotta keep doing it. Gotta keep hearing it. You know, your favorite song you listen to? Well, not your favorite song. Any song. You can have a song on the radio that you don't even like. You hear the shit enough times, you're going to start remembering the song. You don't even like the song, but they keep playing it on the radio. And the more they play it, now you know the lyrics of the song. So the same thing applies with information. You know, the more we hear it, the more we understand it, the more we gravitate towards it. Right? Don't be afraid to cast some spells too, bro.
Over 1,000 missiles shot at it, knocked them almost all down. On the very first day I came down the escalator in 2015, I said, quote, I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And all I'm doing is keeping my promise. Think of that. That was in 2015. I said it.
Now, although, I mean, I'm an advocate for people doing what they want to do, right? I do believe in some part you should leave people to their vices, but unfortunately in this situation, you know, if you got a bunch of people screaming death to America, I don't think that you should let them get nuclear bombs. They might wake up one day and say, hey, Allah told me to destroy America. Understand something. These people right here, they look at themselves as the revolutionaries the fight against the West. Right? So, mind you, you know, these people have no problem with strapping a bomb to their chest and blowing up a city in the name of Allah. Okay? And these people don't like America. So, I mean, do you think it's in our best interest if we allow them to develop nuclear weapons? I'll let you be the judge of that, right? What the hell is going on here? What was I about to say? Yeah, the IRGC, right? The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. All right? Now, again, you in your house and your enemies are down the street. Your address is 808. Your address is 5808. Your enemies are down the street talking about death to 5808. We don't like the people that live in the house. The first chance we get, we're going to wipe them out. Do you think it would suffice or be wise to arm these people with ammunition? Nope. Because they definitely coming to 5808. You're going to be obliterated. See, I try to make sense out of things so people can have them in digestible bits. Because sometimes we let our emotions overcrowd us and we tend to escape reason, neglect pragmatic thinking. And we find ourselves in the streets arguing about what a man and a woman is. I ain't get on that. Let's move forward.
It was a threat then and a much bigger threat now, but no longer a threat, not for a long time anyway. We want to keep it that way. As we continue Operation Epic Fury, we're also focused on keeping...
Trump, and we're going to keep it that way. As long as we got you in office, we're going to keep it that way. Yep. Yeah. I love my country, man. We can't have nobody talking about no death of America and then think you just going to be out here just building nukes and shit. I mean, how stupid would we be? Huh? We don't want to do that. We can't do that. That's not righteous. That's not holy. God would be very disappointed in us if we did that.
Energy and oil flowing to the world, and I will not allow a terrorist regime to...
Look how blessed we are. We ain't got to wake up to see any of that. To all you people that, you know, I don't like America. America should be punished. Let me tell you something. All right, you're going to fuck around and get what you want. All right? Life, we don't start making decisions. Life tends to make decisions for us. And sometimes life tends to humble us to let us know what we have. You want to wake up and you see your homes and your streets looking like this? Huh? Because, like or no like, these soldiers, white, black, Chinese, whatever, they all fighting for America. Black and white, we'll fight that shit when we get done with the outsiders. We deal with our business in home. All this other shit, the Africans coming over here talking all this weird shit. Love you. They gotta go. After we purge this motherfucker for people that haven't been here, then we can go back to doing our shit. But right now, they gotta go. Everybody gotta go, and everybody need to be thankful that our troops are fighting so we don't have to experience this. And it's very unfortunate that the people in Iran have to experience it too. I don't wish no harm on anybody. You know, I don't wish no harm on anybody. But at the same time, you can't be in the streets. You can't be in the streets talking about, yo, I'm going to kill you, death to America. And then when we show up at your door, oh, why are you doing this to me? Oh, why are you doing? No, we don't want to hear that. That's not how life works. I had a wise man tell me, man, this is Dennis Sperling. You're going to check out his channel, man. He told me, and I really love this because it's so much truth in this saying. When you harm somebody, you have no control on how they're going to respond. You can punch somebody in the face. And then when they come back and shoot you, you're sitting here like, why did you take it that far? All he did was punch you in the face. He doesn't have to punch that man back in the face. Once you harm somebody, you have no control on how they're going to respond. You screaming in the streets, death to America, you threatening all the families that live over here. People that ain't have nothing to do with what y'all was going through. What you think was going to happen? Well, you finally got a president. You finally fucked around and found out. We finally got a president that, you know, fuck it. He went over there and just lit your shit up. You can only blame yourself for this. You can't just go around spewing shit like that. Can't just go around just screaming death to people. Like, what are you talking about? What are we doing here? What are we doing here, Mikey? What are we doing here?
To hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply, and if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level. I will take out those targets.
Harder level. They ain't even really given what they had yet. Huh. America ain't really doubled down on them yet. Nope. I can say what y'all want about Trump. Trump being real nice right now. He being real right. He got some technology and that shit. All right. Cut that damn sonar on, man. Your ears fall off, boy. Yeah, what y'all know about that? Your ears fall off. Your nose, your nose fall off, man. They got this goddamn system. They cut the system on that does this sonic boom shit. Your face just start melting off, like right while you alive, man. I mean, you don't want that, man. Yeah, man. It's up to like 300 feet radius. You can just be sitting in your house. They cut the beamer on. Your shit just start melting right in front of your kids. Just them too. Everybody just start fucking melting and shit. You don't want that. That's not cool. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, this is the map right here, y'all. This is the Strait of Hormuz right here. This is where all the ships. Look at the mouse. Let me show y'all what the mouse is. Can help y'all out a little bit. All right. So where all them goddamn ships be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, all of this is the GCC. Well, not this right here, but the GCC, all of this right here, right? Now, understand something. They have a direct correlation with America. These are very, very, very important business partners, right? Had a guy on the internet the other day, he broke down on how the stock market is relying on these, with the GCC, to actually keep the market the way it is today due to their investments that they're getting, right? A lot of money to be made. We don't want to fuck this up because we got some goofballs over here that thought it was cool to just go out in the street and just start threatening people, especially people that are bigger than you, right? You don't want to do that.
That were easy.
Then it makes us look like the bully. Like, we're not winning in this situation. We're not winning. You know, a lot of these fights don't really need to be had because it makes America look like the bully. Like, we're not winning in this situation. It's like, okay, cool. Yo, if Trump wanted to, he could just eradicate the place if he wanted to. What's that going to do? People just going to hate him even more. It don't even matter if he is trying to protect the people or the citizens in the United States of America. That's just how life works. That's how the people mind work.
And that I mentioned just before, we'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever. If they want to play that game, They better not play that game.
All
In the
right, better
long
not play
run,
that
oil
game.
supplies will be dramatically
They better not play that game.
more secure without the threat of Iranian ships, drones, missiles, nuclear menace, or anything. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain safe. We have a lot of Navy ships there. We have the best equipment in the world, inspecting for mines. Again, most of their ships are down at the bottom of the sea, but we will hit them so hard that it will not be possible for them or anybody else helping them to ever recover that section of the world if they do anything. In recent years, the regime and its terror proxies have launched attacks on hundreds of commercial vessels. We're putting an end to all of this threat once and for all, and the result will be lower oil prices, oil and gas prices for American families. We've done that. We've done it. We brought it very low. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. We're getting very close to finishing that, too. In the meantime, during this brief disruption, the United States is offering political risk insurance to any tankers operating in the Gulf. So we're putting up risk insurance. We'll perhaps go alongside of them for protection. We don't think it'll be necessary. If it is, and if they do anything, the price will be incalculable. It will be so great that they will.
And see, Trump's words got so much weight now because, yo, when they first went into Iran in the beginning of the year with the bunker busters, man. Iran supposedly had a nuclear site. They went in, they dropped the bunker busters. Yo, these joints go all the way like 300 feet underground. It's crazy. Then what he did with Venezuela was even more diabolical, man. Like, he went in there and just yanked out the president. Okay. Now, you just go and just bomb Iran. And in the process of bombing Iran, you got the Strait of Hormuz all backed up and jacked up. Now China can't get their oil. 80%, by the way. Yo, this shit is out of control.
Wish they never did it.
Shit isn't funny for real. People are dying, but I mean, sometimes you gotta smile to keep from crying, right? Rewind this back. Oh man, come on, really? Is that what we doing here, Mikey? Monroe.
Incalculable. It will be so great that they will have wished they never did it, because you have to keep the straits flowing. With all of that, it affects other
You got to keep the streams flowing, baby.
countries much more than it does the United States. It doesn't really affect us. We have so much oil.
Hey,
We have tremendous oil and gas.
Hey, listen. Listen. It don't really affect America like that. Like I told you, the oil that comes through the Strait of Hormuz, only 4% goes to the Americas. So if the shit is backed up and people can't get their oil, we take a hit, but not a big hit compared to China. They get 80% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz. Can you imagine how fucking livid China's gonna be if this shit don't get fixed by next month? I don't really think China won't walk in there and just start shooting up shit. The best bet is going to be to work with America and get rid of Iran, because Iran is dead weight and they fucking up shit. Okay? But they gave Iran no choice. They bombed them. They made Iran do some stupid shit. Iran started bombing the oil tanks. Now the Strait of Hormuz all jacked up. Ain't no oil coming through there. America like, oh well, our shit coming from Venezuela. Ran the play. Ran the whole play. It's crazy. He had to be here before.
Much more than we need. We have Venezuela now as our new partner, great partner. They've worked out so wonderful. We're working with the administration, the president, and it's a massive source of oil, gas, everything. But we're in a very good position, but very unfair to other parts of the world, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time. And we're
he is running the play, man. Huh. Just rewind that back.
protecting the world from, like China as an example. I mean, we're doing this for the other parts of the world, including countries like China. They get a lot of their oil through the straits. So we're doing this. We have a very good relationship with President Xi in China. I'm going there in a short period of time. And we're protecting the world from.
They had, I was playing the feminist debate the other day, right, with Pearl. Just Pearly Things and the chick Anna, I forgot her last name, whatever. But one of the topics was what happens when men stop doing the dirty and dangerous jobs. Look at this damn boat right here. Look at this boat. These men out here building these boats. Thousands of boats. You know how much mathematics and intelligence it takes? Physics. You know, women just think that, men just be out here twiddling their fingers on podcasts, eating pizza and shit. That's what I think we be doing all that. No.
What these lunatics are trying to do. And very
Oil stop running, men got to go fix it. Lights go out, men got to go fix it. The water stops running, the sewage goes down, the plumbing goes down, men got to fix it. Aliens come to planet Earth, military men got to fight them. Oil rigs, all got to be produced. Car breakdown, 9 times out of 10, your mechanic is a goddamn male. We keep the world running, yo. I don't know what the disrespect was about. Shout out to the chick that was standing up for the brothers. Gotta get on Jasmine Crockett too. That's a crazy motherfucker right there.
successfully, I might add. We're also waiving certain oil-related sanctions to reduce prices. So we have sanctions on some countries. We're going to take those sanctions off till this straightens out. Then who knows, maybe we won't have to put them on. There'll be so much peace. But when the time comes, the U.S. Navy and its partners will escort tankers through the strait if needed. I hope it's not going to be needed, but if it's needed, we'll escort them right through. And we have the greatest mine-sweeping ability. We have the greatest ships, and we know exactly where they're placed. We'll get them out of there very fast, but we hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take...
You know, a lot of people got a problem with us investing so much in our military. Let me tell you something real quick. Without a strong military, people come over here and invade. Snatch up your families and shit. If any of y'all living in America and y'all hate America, shame on you. Got these people dying out here to keep you safe, and you over here complaining and shit. Shut up. Fuck up.
Take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit. They had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed. But they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East, and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder. Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just the never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful.
See this? We can learn something from this, y'all. We can learn something from this. Russia is allied with Iran. China's allied with Iran. Yet, Trump is on the other side. Yet they still can come together and have a conversation. Do business with each other. To all my black people out here, right? Let me explain something to y'all, okay? Nobody has to like you. It's not a fucking law that says, hey, I gotta like this person. Sometimes when we vote based off how we feel about the person versus what can we gain out of this situation. And a lot of times we don't gain anything because people can't get over how they feel. China and Russia got their issues. But yet if they can make a deal and the reciprocity is there, then they're going to take advantage of that. All other races understand that, listen, we don't have to like each other. We can still do business. Some reasons, black folks on the other end, they don't give a shit what you're offering them or what they can get. How do you feel about me? Who gives a shit how they feel about you? Okay? Do the deal and move on. Until we learn that, we're gonna have big issues right there. Like, he don't get along with China like that. He gonna go and check on the president of China. He gonna go check on him. He's on the phone with Putin. Putin helping Iran fight them. He said, let me call up Putin real quick and check on them with the Ukraine war. It's grown-up shit, yo. And every time we get in the office, somebody runs for president in office, black people got to know that you love them in order for them to vote for you. What kind of shit is that? You ain't gonna get shit. Do you love me? Do you like me? You sure you like me? You like me? You like me, right? Okay, you like me, I'll vote for you. Fuck the policies, fuck all that. Do you like me? Other people with high IQs are saying, I don't need you to like me. What am I getting out of this deal? All right. Just had that deluxe pizza, man. We about to close out real quick. Let me go ahead and see what he about to say.
But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you
but
talking
soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are two levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But two levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
Very, very powerful.
with respect to Cuba, you said that Cuba.
All right, we're going to get back onto this real quick. We're going to get back onto this another day. We already hit an hour. I try not to do more than an hour, man. I got so much stuff to do. Yeah. Yes, sir.